Welcome to Larp Academia. Today we're going to talk about what you get as a first level healer. Now, before we get into all your spells and everything, you're probably wondering how a healer plays. How are they different from the druid class that we just talked about? Well, healer is by far the most powerful class in Amtgard. Why do I say that? Well, as a healer, you have a lot of support magic, and support magic is, in almost every game, you probably notice, intended to be a bit more powerful than pure offensive magic or even crowd controlling magic. Support magic is pretty good, especially in Amtgard when you consider how easy it is to die. Remember, you just get hit once in the chest and you're dead, or just pop really quick and you're dead. Then you have to wait 30, 60 seconds, whatever, a while. Well, healers are able to just pop you back into the game. So with that in mind, with healers being potentially the most powerful class, you also have to realize that they are supposed to be selfless. There's not many warriors, well, healers who go out and fight. Now, why I mention warriors? There are three types of healers. There are regenerating warriors who go out and, I'm going to fight people. What spells do you know? Oh, I might know the heal. Did you take resurrect? What? Those are your regenerating warriors. They just go out to fight and have the heal spell on them because infinite heal is amazing, and we'll get into that too. It's part of why a class is called healer. Now, a different type of class, a different type of play style for the class of healer is mid to frontline healer. These healers are very powerful. They go on, they heal someone who's wounded, maybe do a swift heal. Or if you don't have a swift heal, you get down on your knees, you start healing, you block with them, you help them, you actually make the person get healed on the front line, which is hard and impressive to do. But you can also go in and release people, you can resurrect people as they die, just stay there, and then you go and resurrect them and then send them into the fight so they don't have to walk all the way back and all the way forward. A mid to frontline healer is not quite as powerful as the next type of healer, but it's still very powerful and it's very active. It's very engaging. You are able to be taken out at any time because you, as a healer, have the biggest target on your body. I mean, after all, there is a saying in almost every game, kill the healer for a reason. Now, the most powerful healer in Amtgard is the backline healer. Now, why is this the most powerful? Well, you are able to sit here undeterred and keep bringing people into the game quickly. This is potentially the most boring type of healer, but there are also different ways to play each type of healer. You could be a backline enchanter. You could be a midline enchanter. You see a wizard has a fireball, you just put an adaptive blessing, have them go, and this type of healer is rare to see, but you can be that type of healer. Now, I want you to keep in mind what type of healer you want to be. A backline, a mid to front line, and if you're a generating warrior, I mean, just stay here for the heal spell and then you're good. But we'll be going into a bit more for a healer than just what a regenerating warrior wants. So, without further ado, let's get into what you get as a first level healer. Now, the first spell that you get is Banish. Banish, surprisingly, even though I had that whole spiel of it being supportive and not affecting other people, Banish affects an enemy opponent that is insubstantial. This is very useful to keep your teammates alive, and it's support magic even though it affects other people, because all it does is it makes them go back to your base. So if an assassin's, I'm teleporting in and everything, you can say the spirit's banishing for this place 3 times and then they're going back to base. If there's a barbarian coming in with glee on his eyes, I'm gonna die and I'm gonna fight after death, then you can say, get out of here, banish. So you can banish them away. Now, Banish is a spirit magic, which means it's pretty much universally able to be applied to anyone, and it only works on people who are insubstantial. You can't just send people back to base whenever you want. They need to be in a certain state, which is why it's green. It does what it intends, and it's pretty good. It's all right. It's part of life. It's a nice option for you to take if you're ever concerned about those insubstantial sneaky types trying to come in and kill you or your teammates, because you're trying to keep them alive, dang it. So this is why it is a support spell. Now on to your second spell, and this is an enchantment. It's really weird, I know, but healers get a lot of enchantments. See, the difference between healers and druids, if you want to take a look at druids, look in our description down below. Druids are a bright flame that burns out very quickly, as long as the game designers have a refresh be at 30 minutes or later like it should. But you, on the other hand, are a steady small flame that just keeps going forever. And it may not burn as bright. It may not be as, wow, that's an amazing enchantment. But they are still very good, and they do have longevity. And we'll get into why more at around level 6. But in fitting that theme, you have Blessing Against Wounds. Now, you can't heal someone when they're dead as a first level healer. It's pretty hard. And if someone's wounded, we'll get into the heal spell. It's a pain to use that heal spell because it's a paragraph long. So what better way of keeping people alive than just making them not take a wound? Pretty good, right? Well, Blessing Against Wound, in addition to that, to making a person resistant to the first wound that they would take, also is a per life enchantment. That's right, when you're out of all your per refreshes, when the druids are out of their per refresh enchantments, you can go up to people and be like, hey buddy, I enchant thee against wounds, I enchant thee against wounds, I enchant thee against wounds. Boom! And then you can just keep doing that, and then people have consistent enchantments. And an enchantment that protects you from a wound is almost as good as bark skin, really. I mean, it's not quite as good, but it's almost as good. So, Blessing Against Wounds is pretty good. Now, the problem with Blessing Against Wounds and why it's not higher than green is because in a first level setting, when you're all first levels, Blessing Against Wounds, purple. In fact, I would say you might want just heal and Blessing Against Wounds. Honestly, it's that good. But as you get higher up into the levels and as you play with other people, you can be a first level and say, hey guys, I'm ready to do stuff. And the older players look at you just, peasant, I want stone skin instead. And I mean, why wouldn't they? Stone skin's amazing. So they could want other enchantments. And as you all level up, Blessing Against Wounds loses its potency until about halfway through the game, and then it picks up as long as the game designers actually do per refreshes like they're intended. So it's green. It can be purple, it can be kind of red, like, oh, I took it and I'm never going to use it. It really depends on your situation, and it depends how active you are with it. In fact, I would say Blessing Against Wounds is dependent upon how insistent you are to give it to other people, because they'll forget. They'll forget they have Blessing Against Wounds, and it is very powerful, very great for you to take, especially at first level, but there are pros and cons to it, which is why it is green. The next item on our list to go over is Cancel. Now, it is terrible. It is absolutely terrible for you. It wasn't terrible for Druid because they could, take away their enchantments and then give them back more armor. And if you want more of a description on Cancel, you can check out our Amtgard Magic Part 3. We'll be linking to it a lot for Healer because it was almost made for Healer due to the amount of spells that are on there and abilities. But, well, spells and equipment, meta magics, you get the gist. But Cancel for you is terrible. The reason why most of your enchantments, they just stay, they do stuff. Oh, that's great. It's a consistent niceness. Or, oh, I have a resistance, a one-time use. That's pretty great, like Blessing Against Wounds. Yeah. Well, Cancel doesn't let you redo that. Oh, you took away my resistance? Why? So I could give you another resistance? I guess it's there if you screw up, but really, it's pretty terrible overall. I would not even bother with Cancel at all. It's that bad. The next option you have is a small shield. Now, a small shield is only blue because you can see a problem. It doesn't cover enough. But it is blue because it is a shield. And shields in Amtgard are brokenly overpowered. They can block sword shots, they can block arrows, they can block projectiles, and since everyone's trying to kill you, I mean, getting a shield at first levels, it's a pretty good option. And it's only 2 points. It's not the biggest thing in the world. Now, small shields, anything to keep you alive is good, and I mean, again, shields are just great. That's why it's blue. It's not perfect, but it does a job. Now, when you combine it with our other option, the short sword, you could be a regenerating warrior and go and kill people and everything. This is for you regenerating warriors that don't want to learn anything, because you can just block and swing, and it's just great. But for everyone else, I highly recommend against this combination. Why? Well, it's not so much I highly recommend against it, I recommend against the idea that can be put into your mind. So, Healer, as we talked about, is a support class. You want to keep in mind that you are there to help other people. You're there to heal, release, keep them alive, resurrect, etc. You are not there to go and murder people. In fact, there are better classes for that. I don't know why regenerating warrior is a thing. You should actually be a barbarian, in my opinion, but having heal at any time is nice. Druid's kind of better for that too. There's a whole debate that you could have with it. But when you are a healer, you're most powerful when you use this as a deterrent. So if someone's coming towards you, you can block, swing, get away, let your other people fight, and then heal them or whatever else. At no point in time are your spells, your kit, your anything designed for you to kill people. Nothing really helps you go and swing and hit people. You are there to support others. Now, a short sword is blue because everyone knows a short sword. Like, oh, that person has a short sword. They're able to fight even if they don't have a shield, which is absolutely terrible. You'll want a shield. It is a great deterrent. If someone comes at you and you post up in an actual fighting stance, then yeah, you're more likely to actually have them go away, maybe buy some time for your teammates to help you. And another thing is that version 8 was designed so that every class is on the field. There are multiple people. They're all using everything to their max benefit, which, as we talked about in Why Magic's Overpowered, is not the case in the link below, part 1. And people just don't wear their entire kit. So you, as a healer, will suffer from this idea that, hey, there's a small field. There's not enough people there to protect you. So you will have to fight, which is why these are blue. Usually you will need them or you'll want them as a deterrent, but the problem with short sword is that it's 3 points. It's 3 points of magic because you're not meant to kill people. So it's a good deterrent, but it's not perfect and it doesn't help you that much as a healer. Now that we have gotten the stuff out of the way that doesn't really help you, and it's still very alluring, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really help you except stay away. We'll get into something that actually does help your kit, and that is experience. Now it is purple for you because of some of the spells that you'll get later on, which is just, you'll want to experience. In fact, if you don't have one experience, people will question, are you really a healer? And you'll say, well, I'm a regenerating warrior, because you pretty much are a regenerating warrior if you don't have some of these spells experienced. So you'll want experience. Experience is great. And when you put that in tandem with the fact that most of your spells are either chargeable or unlimited, pretty much everything is chargeable and at your disposal. You have unlimited of everything. It's stupid how powerful the healer kit gets. So take experience just to make sure you're at about God level and you'll be great. Now, while we go over experience in our Amtgard Parts of Magic Part 3, and when we talk about a lot of common variants of spells and meta magic, etc., one thing that's not covered in that is Harden. Now, this is your first per refresh enchantment, and it's great. It's terrible. The reason why it's terrible is because not only is it per refresh, not only do warriors already get it, which is the class that really wants it, but when you consider who else would use it, monks, I mean, it doesn't really help them. They block projectiles, which are the main way to block to destroy weapons with other weapons. So, okay, Harden doesn't help them. Doesn't help warriors. You can't enchant barbarians. What? You have a scout that you could enchant? Maybe an assassin, but they have a lot of little tricks where they can step into the shadows, and I mean, you can just mend their armor if they're actually wearing armor, which they should. So Harden doesn't really hold a good place, and there are so many better ways to spend your spell points that Harden, you have to go out of your way to find someone that wants Harden, convince them that Harden's good, and then you use a spell that they don't really care about. So, I mean, it's not great. In fact, Blessing Its Wounds is probably better than Harden, just in how powerful it is. And Blessing Its Wounds is per life. So, I mean, Harden, it's bad. Don't take it. You don't really want it. I'm sorry. Now, we have 2 spells left, and you're probably thinking, Wizzo, this doesn't really sound very healery. We've got a lot of extra stuff, which is like, okay, I guess it's support. What's your point? Well, the last 2 spells are really what make a healer at first level. The first one is Heal. Now, Heal, we talked about in Druid that you get it per life. Scouts, you get it per life. Monk, per life, and it's chargeable, but only for yourself. Yeah, that's great. Healer, it's just unlimited. Unlimited. You have 1 point for unlimited heals, and that is amazing. This is why people go Regenerating Warrior and just know the heal spell, because the heal spell is amazing. Someone loses a limb. There's a common tactic of legging and leaving them. So they're legged. Now I have to crawl everywhere. I'm not going to crawl. I'm lazy. So I'm just going to wait till people come and kill me or people come and fight me. So you can bring that person basically back into the game, just like a resurrection almost. Because if they're legged, well, they're not going to do anything. It can also happen when someone's armed. They go back and they get healed, and instead of having a person go single short sword versus another person who has sword and board and armor and stuff, they now have sword and board and shield, which gives them a much better chance. So heal is an amazing spell. The only problem with it is that it is a paragraph. So here's something that you'll need to keep track of. If I say, stroke at spear, set mace, smash, air, that the wild him, descend on thee, that the wild thing is not thy spoon, but that the wild him and the broken bones, that the wild him cause a wound, that the wild him so the vigor, the wild let him heal thee, you can understand it if you know the heal spell. Now I started out slow to get that going, but if you go, that's not the heal spell. People can't understand it. It doesn't work. Now healers get away with sin from the reads. They're like, oh, you have to say paragraphs and do a lot of charging. All right, we'll let you get away with whatever. The rules don't apply to you, but they do. You might actually get a reeve like me whenever I reeve and say, hey, that was not audible up to 20 feet. I couldn't understand what you were saying. I couldn't understand your heal spell within a second. But I couldn't understand that as the heal spell. It's not the heal spell. Say it correctly. You need to be audible up to 20 feet, and anyone who knows the heal spell should be able to understand what you're saying. You will find that this is a common complaint that I have with most healers and that you need to be aware of, because when a reeve cracks down on you and actually makes you follow the rules, it can completely destroy many healers' games. They could go from, oh wow, that healer's amazing, to wow, this healer's really struggling to perform at anything. So you need to be in the practice of being audible up to 20 feet. And it doesn't seem like a big task. It really doesn't. But in the heat of the moment, it will become an issue, and healers can fall into that slide of, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal. I can say the heal spell in half a second. So you need to make sure that it is audible. That's my big gripe with the heal spell. It is amazing though, it is purple, just make sure you're doing it correctly. Now the last ability that you get is release. Now every spellcasting class has this for a reason. It's really good. Scouts also have it. It's really good. Scouts have it per refresh. It's really good. All the other classes get it per life. It's really good. But for you get 1 point, gives you 2 per life, charge times 3. What? This is ridiculous, and that's because it is. You get the best version of release, as almost every healer spell is the best version of something. And release, it's great. We talk about it in Amtgard Magic Part 3. It's one of those common spells, and I'm just going to save time by linking you there for a lot of these healer spells that are very common. So that is Healer. Healer has a very powerful kit at first level, and you'll see this trend continue onwards, is that their kit doesn't really get much worse. They are very powerful with their spells. It's just they're powerful with their team and to support their team, rather than going out and being like, I am the center of attention and you all will love me as I am just awesome, killing everyone. No, that's not what a healer is. You are there to make your team awesome, and you have the tools to do it. So I would love to hear what you think of Healer. If you enjoy the idea of being the most powerful person in the game, but being selfless at the same time, and if you think that Healer is actually as powerful as I've stated. I would love to hear your thoughts and everything else in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell so that you can stay informed. Until next time, keep LARPing.